Sometimes before you start podcasting, you need to make sure you know the names of your yarns and the colors. Hello everyone, my name is Jonathan and this is Jonathan's Days. This is my knitting podcast where I talk about all of the things that I've been knitting on and everything that's been happening in my knitting world. I'm based in London, but I'm originally from Ireland. And as of the last episode, there's been like a lot more viewers, a lot more people, so welcome to all the new people and welcome back to all the people who've been here for a little bit of time. It's good to be back. It feels like it's been a long time since I've come back, my last episode, but it hasn't. It's been my usual 3 weeks, I think. But I do have a lot to talk about because I was off work for almost 2 weeks, but time off, not like sick or anything. And I kind of made knitting my almost my full-time job, so it was a really good time. So lots to talk about. And let me start with what I'm wearing. This is interesting, actually. This is the technically the first thing I ever knit. Probably if we want to be really specific, it's the second thing I ever knit. The first thing I ever knit was an acrylic garter stitch scarf when I was 16, but this is the first thing I knit when I moved to London about 10 years ago, over 10 years ago now. And I had no job and I wanted something to do, so I went to a yarn shop that's no longer open in London, and I bought some needles and some yarn and I made a cowl. And it was originally just all knit stitch, so it curled up. There's a picture on my Ravelry if you want to go check out my Ravelry. And so it all curled up, and then when I got a bit more experience I frogged it, unraveled the whole thing and re-knitted it again. And this is it. It's just literally a tube with some ribbing at the top. I've worn it, I knit a lot of things after this original cowl, and I always wear it, and I don't wear other things that were probably better knitting wise, but this one I just always wear. And it was in vacuum pack storage until about last week, and I'm pulling fluff off it. But it is Garthnor. If you've been watching for a while, you know I love Garthnor yarns. This was Garthnor, it's like a chunky, bulky. They have a chunky yarn now, but they don't. It's not this. It might be the same, but it was the branding has changed since then. I'm assuming it's the same farm and probably the same breeds of sheep that they're using, that they have in their lovely organic farm. But yeah, it's like a bulky, chunky weight. And I did it on 10mm needles, which I still have, and I've never used them for anything else since. But I love this cowl. It goes great. I love wrapping it up underneath my jacket, and I wear it all the time. Sometimes the really simple things are the things we wear the most. So yeah, so that's what I'm wearing. I have one finished object and a bunch of whips. Some you've seen before, some you haven't seen before. And I have some travel that I did and some things I picked up from traveling, and a small few acquisitions and some plans for the future. So let's dive right into the first finished object. Again, if you watched last episode, this is for my mother. Please stop watching because this is for you for Christmas, unless you want it to be spoiled, in which case, watch away. That's fine. I don't mind. So yeah, this is my first finished object. And you're like, oh, but Jonathan, what's that? It's not finished. But to me, it's finished because I literally have three rounds left. So, and I wanted to film, it would take me about 15 minutes just to finish this off, but I wanted to film more than I wanted to finish it off. So as far as I'm concerned, this is finished. This is the Ranunculus by Midori Hirose from Knit Cafe Midori. I showed this last time, and I'd split for the sleeves and I started the body, but now I've since finished the body, and it is quite cropped. I mean, I did it to what the pattern specified, lengthwise, and it is quite cropped. It is quite small. I can show you the sleeve I did, which was what I was speaking about last time. So I just did literally, it's about, I think 2 rows of stockinette and then just as much ribbing as was left in the skein. This is how much I have left to finish my other sleeve. So I really, I with what was left, I split. Once I finished the body, I split what was left, and I just knit as much as I could, counting the rows, and bound off. So I just wanted a little bit of, I knew it was going to be short sleeve, but I just wanted a little bit of a sleeve. I think my mom would like it, rather than what's in the pattern. You just kind of, you bind off straight away and it curls, which is a nice look, but I don't think my mom would like it. This is knit up in Olann yarns, which is their mill yarn, called Méara, M-E-A-R-A, well, M-E-A-R-A, and this is in the color Eden. I'm using one skein, so the Ranunculus is known as a one skein wonder, and I thought it would be quite fun to do this pattern because everyone loves it, and I would never really make it for myself, but I thought the color would look great on my mom, and my mom would like it. So it is super small and cropped. So I'm going to block it super aggressively, and like I really want kind of these to kind of open up and spread out and loosen up and relax, and I think once I do that it will I think it will fit, and but I think I want to like kind of block a bit more length. It is people, I mean, if you've watched any podcasts, somebody's made a Ranunculus, I'm sure. It's a super, super popular pattern, and there's a reason why it's super popular. It's such an enjoyable, fast knit. I did this one on 6mm needles, and I will say I've gotten so used to smaller needles, I almost found them a bit unwieldy. Like, it was difficult to use, especially with like this is a 4-ply fingering weight yarn. So it is kind of difficult, especially the half twisted rib. So you twist you knit into the back of the knit stitches for the ribbing, which I did for the bottom and for the sleeves as well. Like it is pretty difficult to do, I found, because I'm so used to now to like making socks and like 4mm needles or below. But I'm so happy with it. I'm so happy with the color. I would like something in this color myself, but since it was like a really nice special skein of yarn, I wanted to make something really, really special with it. So this is the Ranunculus. I would really, really recommend it. I'm hoping that it, first of all, fits my mom, she likes it, and she gets use out of it, and she likes to wear it. If she doesn't, there's someone like within our family that I think would like it if my mom wants to like re-gift it onto them, and then I will make something else for my mom. And like, since this is meant to be a surprise because it's one size, I haven't measured my mom or anything like that. So if she doesn't like it, what I'll do is I'll say, okay, let's give it to this person who I think would also really like it. Let's measure you and make you a love note, I think. So it's like a similar, like it has like a lacy kind of yoke, and a lot of people have knit that. And so I think we can do that. We can like pick some yarn and I can make her something else that definitely will fit her. So that's the plan, but I'm so, so happy with it. I think it looks really cool. I'm really proud of myself. It's not perfect. I've made some kind of mistakes here and there, and I've also kind of like gotten to the point in my knitting now where I'm like not too hung up on the little mistakes, Just knit two together, it's fine, don't worry, it's under the arm, nobody's gonna see it. But yeah, I really, really love it. I also picked up recently, which I forgot to pull out, I picked up some labels, like tags that go on the back, where it literally says this is the back, that I'm gonna sew into the back of it so that she knows which side is the back. But I'm really excited about it. So you probably won't see it again. I don't think it's worth me showing it one more time on the podcast once it's blocked. There will be photos on my Ravelry, probably not on my Instagram because my mom, I don't know if my dad watches these, but I don't know if my mom keeps up. So I won't post it on my Instagram in case she sees there. So if you want to see, Ravelry is probably the best place to see a more final blocked version. And of course, when I'm home and if it fits and she likes it, we'll get a photo then. But this was my one of two gift knits. I spoke in the previous episode about my other gift knit, which is going to be for my brother's dog, which I will be casting on fairly soon. But this is one of two gift knits that I'm doing this year. I'm considering a third gift knit, but in general, I'm being selfish. And this was kind of selfish in a way because I really wanted to make this. Like, it was a gift to me because I really enjoyed the process, and it wasn't a chore at all. So I think that's kind of like my unless someone's super knitworthy, the best way to think about it is like, okay, how much am I going to enjoy the process of making this, and like removing that pressure. Like obviously I started this with a lot of time, like we're not even December yet and this is going to be done, so you know, I'm sure once it's blocked and gift wrapped and sent over, it's going to have like creases in it. But anyway, so yes, that's the Ranunculus. I've really enjoyed making it. We're calling it my first FO of the day, or of the and yeah, I've really enjoyed making it, and I do love the colour. Olann make the most amazing colours, so I highly recommend checking them out. Cool, so let's jump to whips, because that would be my only FO. I'll pull out this one. So this is in my little Heidenhammer number 8 bag, which is in the cover image of one of my episodes. We all know I love these bags. Excuse me. We all know I love these bags. This is the smaller version. Oh, I actually have it next to me, so I can do a quick Heidenhammer moment. So here we go. This is the 3, and this is the 8. The 3 like comfortably fits like an entire jumper or a big shawl project. The 8 definitely would fit like a pair of socks super easily. I've done like a hat and a sock in this as well. So they're the same design, just one slightly bigger than the other. I'm getting another one of these. I need another one in my life because I have 2 of this one and I need one more of this one just for my own sanity and my own organization, especially when you travel. I actually love these for travel because they like condense when you need them to condense, and yeah, fantastic. Can't say enough. So, whip number 1 is my second Musselburgh hat. This is, I spoke about this in the previous episode and the yarns in the previous episode, and I am literally just about to start the decreases. I've got like a couple of rows before I start the decreases, and then I'll have finished it. I can show you how it works here. It is a hat, if you haven't seen it before. So you put one end in the other, and that kind of makes your hat. This is the second one I've made. In previous episodes you've seen I would have made one for my boyfriend, and this is one I loved it so much that I wanted to make one for myself, but this one will probably end up being kind of my boyfriend's as well because his favorite colors are blue and grey. So this is them, the 2 colors. So this one on this side is knitting for Olive in the color. I have the ball band right here. It is the color Deep Petroleum Blue. Oh, this is what I do with my ball bands, guys. I have a little hole punch, like a single hole punch, and I punch a hole in the ball band and I string some of the yarn on it. And then that's how I keep track of my yarns and colors and things like that. So yeah, so this is this color, the darker color is Deep Petroleum Blue, and then this one is Hedgehog Fiber, Cashmere Merino in the color Petrol. I can show you the ball band, what I do. I love Hedgehog Fibers. Sparkle, sparkle. So the previous one I made, I also use the Hedgehog Fibers as well. This is like a lace weight, so I've held this double, and this is a fingering weight, so I've held it single. I'm using 3.5mm needles, and I'm enjoying it so much. This was my like travel knitting, so this was the only project I bought when we went traveling for the weekend, and it's perfect. I like did enough to get past the increases at the start, because you start at the bottom and increase up. And then you're just literally stocking it in the round, and I've got them on just a circular needle, like a small circular needle, and it's just perfect for travel because you're just knitting the whole way, and I can pull it out, stop in the middle of a round, it didn't really matter, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm nearly done. I'm excited to be finished it because it kind of means I can go back to socks, because I haven't made socks for a while and I miss making socks. And the nice thing was that I'll speak more about it later, but we were traveling to Copenhagen in Denmark, and Knitting for Olive is a Danish yarn, so it was quite nice that I was knitting with Danish yarn in Denmark. Yeah, I love this. I can't wait to wear it. It's going to keep my ears super toasty. What else is there to say about it? It's a great gift knit pattern, I would find. I'm also doing the adult medium. I did the adult large for my boyfriend, and I'm also shortening it, so it's not as long as it calls for in the pattern, because I don't want to fold it up. So the other one, you can wear it kind of super slouchy, or you can fold the brim, so it's kind of like 4 layers once you folded it. This one I'm doing shorter, so I probably won't be able to fold it unless I want to have it that kind of high watch cap that doesn't cover your ears. So I'll show you next episode when it's finished what I'm talking about. But yeah, basically I've knitted a bit shorter than they've called for in the pattern. The Knitting for Olive is really nice. It's a bit splitty, I found, especially at the very, very start when you're casting on 8 stitches, 4 stitches. Barely any stitches, and using DP ends, and you're like increasing up. I did find it a bit splitty. Once I kind of got into it, it was fine, and I definitely will be blocking it, because it is scratchy isn't the word, but I feel like I'm getting kind of like my yarn sense, and the yarn sense I have from this is that like it does need a good blocking, and it will like feel, not that it's scratchy, but it just needs like a little bit of a wash. So. And of course the Cashmere Merino is like the softest thing ever, and I can't wait to wear it over my ears. I'm just like want to rub it. But yeah, super excited about it, super happy with it. This is the Musselburgh hat, and I absolutely love it. It will be an FO next week, so look forward to that. And yeah, cool, sweet. My next whip is something I think nobody would know about, or I don't even think I mentioned it on the podcast that it was on my list. Maybe I did. But regardless, here is my next whip, which is pretty close to being done. It is made up of 2 colors of yarn from West Yorkshire Spinners in their Croft line. So this is West Yorkshire Spinners, the Croft, Shetland colours, 100% Shetland Islands wool. So this is the label. Yeah, and then the 2 colours I have. These are the 2 colours. I'm gonna hold them up. You can have a good look. This colour is, the lighter colour is the main colour of this project, and the blue is the contrast colour. So it's like a beige, like very, very light beige, and a kind of dusty blue. So these I picked up in Tribe Yarns in London. So on my time off, I hopped on my bike and cycled to Richmond, which is about an hour cycle, just about, for me, and I visited Tribe Yarns, which is my second time visiting there, because I knew they stocked this, because I was like searching around for a nice DK for this project, and on their website, when they had this, where they had this yarn, they had a picture with like different colors, just like, you know, product shots, and these 2 colors were together, and I was absolutely obsessed with how they looked. And you know, I wanted to kind of do a color that was like, you know, I don't really wear this color very often. We know I'm a blue person, but I thought having this as a main color was a really nice way to push my color, I don't know, sense. Push it a bit somewhere. Let me tuck the ends in. I know you're like, come on, Jonathan, hurry up and show it. Tuck my ends in so it looks a bit nice. So this is my second whip. It's nearly done. This is my bubble sweater by Stephen West. So is this the first Stephen West pattern I've ever shown? Must be. I think it might be, because the last thing I ever made of his was the Daybreak. Yeah, cool. Oh no, my Olga and Stephen kinship. That was technically Stephen West, but this is the first pure, only Stephen pattern that I've ever shown. So, God, lots to talk about with this. Okay, so it's top down. The increases are done short rows, I guess would be the best way to say it, but you kind of short row in the bubble stitch, so you can see here, like, they're short rows essentially. So when I hold it up like this, you can see how kind of deep the neckline goes, because there's so many short rows. So the neckline really sits, when I've tried it on, the neckline sits quite low. It's like, V-neck wouldn't be the right way to describe, like almost a scoop neck, I guess, would be the best way to describe it. So let me pull it up close so you can see the bubble stitch. So this is definitely not a style I would reach for. It's a bit kind of like out there and a bit like funkier than I would go for. But there was, you know, some other people on Instagram that had like amazing examples of it, and they just kind of inspired me to like just go for it and try something that's a little bit out of my normal style. Like, you know, usually I'm very like geometric and blocks of color and blues and grays. So this was like an opportunity for me to kind of like, you know, embrace the Stephen West of it all and do something a bit funkier and a bit different. So I always try to do projects that have new techniques in them, and this is no exception. Obviously the bubble stitch is a new technique for me. It's I made a mistake like the second bubble stitch I ever did, so then I had to like repair it, which meant, you know, you can look it up on YouTube, it's there, like the bubble stitch itself involves knitting into a stitch a couple of stitches below and then dropping that stitch. So you're like dropping stitches, which was quite fun to do, you know, because we're always like, don't drop a stitch. So, yeah, I made a mistake, and that meant like crochet hook, you know, going up ladders on stitches. So, but it was nice because I'm at the point now where I'm like really confident with the crochet hook and putting drop stitches back up on the needle. So it wasn't too bad. What else am I gonna say about this? Yeah, so I'm really happy with it. I'm really excited to wear it. It's one of those things, like when I was like up in the yoke, I was a bit kind of like, oh God, I don't think I like it. But I knew that once I kind of got the main color, like more of the main color filled up, I would enjoy the yoke, because when you're first doing it, you're like, oh my God, it's a lot of that bubble stitch, a lot of that texture. And while there's a cardigan version, which is all over bubble stitch and it's like fantastic, you know, if I was to make it, I would make it in one color, you know, because the multiple colors is just not my style sensibility. It's just not what I would like. So when I was up in the yoke, I was nervous that I was like, oh my God, have I made a mistake? Will I ever wear this? I'm not sure. But now that I'm here, I'm nearly done the body. Well, maybe about a third, halfway through the body. I feel like I'm in a good point, and I'm very excited to wear it. I'm not sure how I'm going to be styling it. I'm thinking of getting another pair of dungarees like these, and I think it will be nice underneath those. But yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm really happy with it. The other things to say about it, other techniques that are new to me, it was the first time I ever did a folded collar. So you do a really long collar, and then you knit kind of into your cast on to kind of tack it down as you go, and it creates this really squishy. I have a candle right here, which I'm going to move because I'm pulling things up to the camera, and it's going to, this is from Earl of East, Smoke and Musk. Highly recommend if you live in the UK. Anyway, candle break. So yeah, so it's my first folded collar. It's super squishy and thick, so I know it's going to keep me really warm, which is great. And I really enjoyed that. That was on, this is like a twisted rib episode, because the Ranunculus had twisted rib. This is all twisted rib. And then the cuffs are twisted rib as well. And I'll probably do the hem in twisted rib. And I also did a longer cuff. Was the other kind of style change. I could have done a folded Sorry, just doing glamour shots now. I could have done the same folded technique on the neck for the cuff, but I feel that was a bit like, I feel like it already has like an 80s vibe to it, and if I also did the cuffs it would be looking like, you know, sweatbands, those ones. So I opted for just a long twisted rib, and yeah, the yarn I love. I had used the West Yorkshire spinners, the Croft, in the worsted weight for my moon whistle shawl with spin cycle yarns. So the Croft was like the striping, the grey and the orange, and I absolutely loved it. So, and I think this is a fairly new, the Croft itself is a fairly new kind of, brand is the wrong word, base, collection, series of their yarns, and the DK I think is pretty new as well. So I've really enjoyed it. It's so like, it's the perfect amount of sheepy, like it's like not that aggressive like, oh sheep, it's like really nice sheep smell, and I'm like, it's so like, because I have two scents of wool soak. I have one that's unscented and one that's scented, and this one is definitely going in the unscented because it just, I don't know, it's definitely like a scent memory. I don't know what it is when I smell this, but I really enjoy it, and this one I know is going to kind of like bloom and be really nice once it's been blocked, and it would, I mean, since it's Shetland wool, I'm assuming it will be fantastic for color work, and it's also kind of why I picked it for this stitch, because I was doing my best to make sure that my nervousness with doing like such a like crazy stitch for me would, you know, I tried to do so many things that kind of like softened it. So like there's not a huge contrast between these two colors. The yarn will, once it's blocked, will kind of meld and mellow out the kind of like bubble shape. So I was doing like, you know, it's all about, you know, pushing yourself, you know, I wanted to push myself out of my comfort zone, try something new, try a new style, something that would be enjoyable. So I wanted to push myself while also kind of like keeping one foot behind me to, you know, save myself, because, you know, you do all this work and you want to actually wear it, you want to actually enjoy it, and I am definitely enjoying it, and I definitely can't wait to wear it. So yes, any questions? I think I've spoken enough about this. Next ep I will definitely be done with it, because I want to be finished this by the end of this week, next week, and wear it. And the interesting thing is that this sweater would be, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my fifth sweater this year, and I've got my single malt, which I spoke about in the previous episode, which I will be casting on right after this one, and then I want to try and squeeze in one more after that. So my goal is to try and do 7 sweaters, jumpers, before the end of the year, which I think would be pretty good for someone who knit their first sweater October last year. So yeah, that's that. That's the bubble sweater by Stephen West. Oh, and also I got this in Tribe Yarns, which I mentioned, and as an aside, let's take a shawlography break, because let's talk super briefly about shawlography, which is on the subject of Stephen West, was the mystery knit along for this year. And I spoke about it a lot, and there's a lot of us that joined together in the comment section on my channel about how we're not doing it, but we are, you know, the cheerleaders and the observers and the audience for everyone else's wonderful creations. And I thought it was really cool, and I'm not making myself one. I'm still not going to make one. But I will say the stripes at the end, I think they're amazing, and they really kind of tied the whole thing together for me. And when I saw the final clue, I was like, oh my god, I love it now. Not enough to make one for myself, but I definitely loved the stripes at the end. And on the subject of Tribe Yarns, Millie from Tribe Yarns, who's the proprietor of Tribe Yarns, she made the most epic shawlography, and I'm obsessed with it. I hope she doesn't mind. I'll probably pop some pictures in here. she had like beads in it, and she didn't do it in 5 colors. I think she did it in 2 or 3 colors. I think it's like like a black and a white or black and a gray with like gold. And oh my god, I love it so much. I'm obsessed with it. So yeah, just an aside to shawlography. Those were some of the ones that I saw. That's the main one that I think about when I think about shawlography and how cool it was. And yeah, so even though we didn't join this year, it was definitely fun to watch the wonderful, beautiful ones that everyone made. So looking forward to probably doing the same next year. Okay, whips, where am I? Oh my god, stuff everywhere. Let's talk. I think that's it. No, okay. This is a whip, like a super brief whip. This is the sock. I did not bring the book with me to show you, but I have made the tiniest amount of, oh, don't drop your, tiniest amount of progress on this sock, which is the Suokatu, Suokatu from 52 Weeks of Socks. The designer's name will be on the screen as well. I have made like the tiniest amount of progress on it. This is knit in Olann Yarn's Síoda sock in their Nectar colorway. This is their new sock base, and this is going to go on ice. And it is nobody's fault. I'm not angry. I'm not mad at anyone. I love the pattern. I did have it on my 9-inch circular needles, my shorter needles, and I moved it onto Magic Loop, which is what it's called for in the pattern, not because the method itself was difficult, but because these needles that I have, these are Addy, they're lace needles, they have a super sharp tip. And as I mentioned in the previous episode, I was really struggling with the stitch itself because it requires you to knit into the back of the second stitch on your left needle. And I found it so difficult to do, to kind of just get my needle into it. I was really like struggling to do it. And I'm repeating myself from last episode, but it was frustrating because I love the pattern so much. Like I love how it's looking. It's so cool. But you can see probably how it's felting, because I'm stressing so much about doing this stitch that my hands are sweating. I have very warm hands at the best of times. Warm hands, cold heart. But so my hands are kind of like sweaty, and when I'm stressing about a stitch, trying to get my needle into the back of a stitch and it's not getting there, my hands like sweat, and I'm like gripping the project, and it's causing the stitches to felt and fluff up, which is a shame. So because of that, I switched out to the Magic Loop method and the sharper needles so that I could get into the back of the stitch better, and that definitely has helped. But it is a chart, and this pattern you do on the top of the foot, and then so for now, you're just doing stockinette around the base of your foot, pattern on the top, and then when you get past the heel, you do the pattern on the front and the back of the leg. And then I was just kind of like, I was in my time off, I wanted to cast on all the things, I was very excited, I love the yarn so much, but I'm just so frustrated with the stitch, and I'm frustrated that I'm felting as I'm going. For a sock, it's just like not the one, and it's a chart. So what I've found is that this sock will be completed, both socks will be completed, but I need to do it when this can be my like main focused project. So I'm finding that for me, I have a main project, which is like my number one focus, and then I have a more mindless portable project, which is my like take with me places project, my lunch hour at work project. And I found that kind of like doing this was requiring too much brain power and giving me too much stress. So I will be finishing it. I do want to make it. I love how it's knitting up, but it needs to go on ice for a decent amount of time until probably the summer, because once we get to summer, I won't be knitting jumpers as much as my main project. So it will get done. I'm sorry if you liked this and you wanted to see me complete it a bit sooner, but for now I'm going to hold off and get it done next year. So it's a bit sad. I sound so melancholy about it, but you know, it will have its time, and it is. I love the pattern so much. I will get it done. But don't worry, guys. There's more. There's socks in the future. So yes, that's what's happening with that whip. So it just doesn't vanish, and you guys know where it's going to be and when it's going to come. So yes, that's all the projects that I currently have on. Let's talk about. Let's do travel. So I went to Copenhagen, as you know, if you watched the previous episode. Thank you to anyone who gave me recommendations. It was only a weekend we went. We stayed in a great hotel. We ate the entire city. We ate so much food. We drank so much coffee, which was great. It's a great city if you drink coffee, and bakeries and, you know, coffee shops stay open really, really late. So it's nice if you don't drink, I think, as a city. Like, you don't have to drink to be social and do things in the evening, which I find is the case in the UK and even Ireland, where I'm from. You know, it's nice that there are like social places that you can go and you don't have to drink. So it's pretty good, even though I do drink, and we did drink, but just a flag. And so we only went to one yarn shop, and I could have gone to Knitting for Olive, but they weren't open on the weekend. But yeah, I'm just gonna crinkle for a second to show you the bag. The yarn shop I went. This is it. I think it's Sommerfuglen is the name of the shop. Crinkle break. So yeah, so this shop I went to is pretty central. We ended up like walking past it a couple of times just throughout our stay. And when I walked in, I couldn't believe how busy it was. I mean, Loop in London can get pretty busy on the weekend back in the day, but walking in here, I've never seen so many people in a yarn shop. I'll pop in some photos. They have baskets of yarn like outside the door, and the place was like full of yarn. All the Danish yarns. They had lots of Sandnes yarn as well. My boyfriend picked out a colour that I'm going to make him an anchor sweater in there, and petite knit was everywhere. There was like petite knit design binders. There was the French market bag was hanging up there, which actually I can. Okay, so the French market bag was hanging there, and yes, I did finish it, and I did end up lining it. I need to redo the final stitch that's holding the actual lining up, but I did line it. So one of these was hanging up there as well. So it was like, you know, I was like, oh my god, I've knit that. So it was really, really great, super busy. So it didn't look like there was like seating to sit down and knit. That might be a COVID thing, even though in Copenhagen there was restrictions are like non-existent. I think the airport was the only place where people were wearing masks, but yeah, so there wasn't like places to sit and knit. I don't know if that's like a cultural thing, or if that's just the way it is, or if it's that the shop is so busy they can't have people sitting around knitting. And yeah, so it was a really, really nice shop, and I picked up 2 skeins of yarn. Obviously I went there, I wanted to get some Danish yarn, so I got some I think it's pronounced Isager. Those who speak Danish or understands Danish can shout out. And this is the Tvinni. Here it is. I'll just show you the label. You can pronounce it how you think. These are the 2 colors I got. Very classic me. Super sheepy. It is 100% pure new wool. I believe this is sport weight. Super sheepy. Super rustic. This, the blue is color 16, and the grey is color 13S. I had to look up on Ravelry when I was in the store what weight it was, but yeah, it is sport weight, I think. But to me it looks fingering. Yeah, it looks pretty fingering. But yeah, I think it's beautiful. I really liked it. It was so busy, like I didn't like spend a lot of time sitting around, you know, perusing. I just kind of was like, oh my god, let me get in and get out. And I also think because my boyfriend was there with me, I was like, I don't want to spend an hour in here looking at them, looking at yarn. So yeah, I really, really like this. I'm excited to try it. I have a couple of ideas for projects for it, possibly some mittens. Should I just jump and show you now rather than taking ages to talk about it? So what I'm thinking, this is the newest issue of Pom Pom magazine, and this is the when you order directly from Pom Pom, it comes packaged like this. I've already opened it, but I wanted to show you. And then these mittens on the cover, I think they're quite cool, so I thought they might be a good match. So I think maybe that. Or I have a couple of other things in mind for these, but yeah, I was really, really happy with it. What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh yeah, and then this brand also, when I was in there, they had, I don't know, I forgot to note down what it was, but it was a, like, by this brand, but it was Irish wool. And I, you know, because I'm Irish, I didn't pick it up, but I was like, oh god, I have to make a note of it and then come back around to it in my future, because I wasn't going to go all the way to Denmark just to buy Irish wool and bring it back. So I didn't go for it, but it was interesting that they had a brand that was Irish wool. But yeah, I'm really happy with these colors. They've been in the bag since we got back, and now that I'm putting them out, I'm happy with my decision. So yeah, this is the Isager Tvinni, and has a registered trademark next to it, so good to know. Yes, so Copenhagen, highly recommend. Great. Great. Oh gosh, guys, I'm gonna set my candle's gonna set some yarn on fire before the end of this episode. Yes, so other things I've picked up recently. I wanted to show you this. I posted this on my Instagram. So this is from Wild and Woolly here in London. Crinkle break. Okay, I'm back from crinkling. So Wild and Woolly is another store that I visited. You would have seen a couple of episodes back. They're in East London, and it is a lovely, lovely store. I ordered online, which is strange because I could just cycle there and get there pretty quickly, but it's just the way kind of life happens that I didn't get a chance to go there. And I really wanted to buy some yarn from Wild and Woolly, not because I needed any more yarn, but because recently someone broke into Wild and Woolly, smashed their front window, and I just, you know, it's awful, and I just wanted to support in any little way that I could. So I bought some yarn from them. You know, I never needed more yarn, but I didn't need an excuse to buy more yarn from them because it's a great little store, and, you know, not that there's kind of a right place to break into, but I don't understand why anyone would break into a yarn shop, which is such a kind of like, you know, warm, safe community space in the neighborhoods that they inhabit. The mind boggles. But anyway, so wanted to, you know, order some stuff to support and feed my addiction. So I picked up more Mondim. You know that I recently knit up a pair of socks in Mondim yarn, and I absolutely loved it. And I think I always need to have some Mondim in my stash. Like, it's kind of like if I was like running to travel somewhere, I would literally just grab a ball of Mondim and some sock needles and go, just so I could always make a pair of socks out of it, because it's wonderful, wonderful yarn. I picked up 3 colors. So these are the 3 colors I picked up. Let me get them up close. They kind of look good together. I didn't really choose them to be put together, but they actually look great. So the colors are, let me flip them and hold them like this. The blue on top is 113, the pink in the middle is 116, and the kind of grey is 117 at the bottom. So these are the 3 colors I picked up. I wanted just more Mondim in general. When I was kind of like, okay, like I want to support, let me buy something. What's kind of something I know I'll use that I really, really like. And of course, some Mondim sock yarn is the perfect thing to do. perfect thing to do, perfect thing to use, perfect thing for me to just have in my stash. And it kind of fed in quite nicely to a new pattern that's just come out by Andrea Mowry, which I have. Oh, I pulled out my wrong binder. I have 2 pattern binders. Oh my god, it's the wrong binder, so I can't show you. Oh god. Oh no, it's here. Haha. I have 2 pattern binders. These are just little binders. These are A5 size binders, and I print off my patterns in A5 and I store them in here. This binder is just Andrea Mowry and Max and Vincent's patterns. If you know me, they're the patterns I make the most. And then this is everyone else. And the pattern I have is her new sock pattern, which is the one she does every year for Thanksgiving. She does a knit along for Thanksgiving. And let me see, it might be better just for me. Oh, there we go. They are the Curio Socks. Oh yeah, that's probably better. And they're like pretty simple, straightforward sock pattern, and I just really loved the look of them. And Andrea did them with handspun in mind, and she also actually uses Mondim in the pattern, and she uses spin cycle. And if you remember, I have a skein of spin cycle that I picked up in Loop. This is the dyed in the wool, so this is, I think, sport or fingering weight, and this is in the color Castaway. So this is the same color I got in the Dream State, the larger, thicker weight for my Moon Whistle, and I love this color so much. And so I want to make the Curio Socks, and I like looking at the pattern. It's not a main project focus pattern. It's one that I can like learn and follow. So that's another reason why I picked up the Mondim, because I'm thinking this maybe, or this. Ooh, it might be this, guys, right? What do we think? I like the blue. The blue kind of reminds me of her example, because she has like a dark green with kind of a greeny spin cycle. I'm not sure yet. It might be the grey. Looking at it now, I think this is the one to go with. What do we think? And probably more of a hard wearing sock. We'll see. Anyway, as soon as this episode is finished, I'm going to be probably caking this up, getting this ready to go, because I'm excited to cast on those socks. I need some socks on my needles that are enjoyable and easy and fun, which is what I want socks to be. And once the Musselburgh hat is done, it's going to be these. Yeah. Oh yeah, winner, guys. You have that moment where you're like, oh my god, we have a winner. Cool. So the last thing I want to show you is, so long-time viewers will know, not an episode goes by where I don't have a project by Max or Vincent, or have yarn by Max or Vincent, something to do with them, and I thought this would be the episode where I finally don't mention them, you know? They always get a mention in my podcast, but unfortunately they're going to get mentioned again because they visited London. So I met them and I hung out with them and got dinner with them. So yeah, so unfortunately I'm going to mention them again this time because we got to meet in person and it was absolutely fantastic. It was like, you know, meeting your heroes. I was like almost starstruck. Is that strange? I was also starstruck because when I went to meet them, Ellie from Skein Dear Knits was there as well, and I was like, oh, I know you, I watch your podcast. So yeah, they were visiting London. Well, they were visiting the UK, they got engaged, congratulations you guys. And so I got to hang out with them, I got to knit with them, and we got to go for dinner. And so it was absolutely fantastic. You know, we been messaging on Instagram for a while, and so it was just great to like hang out and knit with them and chat, hear about what's going on. And yeah, it was super fun. It was like a, I don't know, strange, as it's, you know, it's great to now have, you know, new friends that have come from this podcast and just, you know, knitting more and doing those kinds of things. I think it's really special, and it's a story you hear all the time in the world of knitting. These kind of relationships and friendships and bonds are made through this like amazing craft that we do, and it was so great to hang out with Les Garçons, and yeah, it's yeah, I don't know, I can't say enough about it. It was like wonderful. It was just like, you know, you never met in person, but you instantly have a connection and you're able to chat and laugh and have a great time like that. So, you know, it's super special, and I don't know if there's any other community in the world where that happens, like in the knitting community. So thank you, Max and Vincent, for inviting me to hang out with you guys, and we'll probably be hanging out again in the future, because, you know, we're buddies now. You can't get rid of me. I mean, even if they never spoke to me again, you know, I'd be chatting about their designs and yarn all the time. So so yeah, that was another like super amazing, exciting thing that happened. And the funniest thing was, it was the first time I knit with other people in person since like the pandemic. Like, and I really took up knitting again in the pandemic. And the last time I ever had really knit in person with other people was about 10 years ago at Loop London with Stephen West. So it's quite crazy to be like, oh my God, like, it's funny how, you know, we all do this in our own little world. The internet has brought us together, and online and social media brings people together. And but, you know, nothing beats knitting together in person and like squeezing each other's yarn and like, ooh, what's that? And ooh, what's this? And so yeah, and it was fun. It was great, because if you also watch their podcast, they were still talking about like secret projects. Like, I didn't go there and get spoilers and details about every little thing that's coming up. So I'm as in the dark as you guys, and I will be hearing about everything the same time you guys. I didn't. I will say I'm very excited for future projects that they've got going on, but I didn't hear any spoilers. So yeah. So yeah, that was meeting Max and Vincent and Ellie from Scandier Knits as well. It was wonderful. Speaking of spoilers and Max and Vincent, I will finish on the latest edition of their Mysterious Forest sock club. So if you are doing this club, this is your spoiler warning. Now I'm going to show you the latest one, and not that it took long to arrive to me, but it like is further than the States since it's coming from Canada. This is the second one of 3. So the first one was based on, it was a little fox, and the second one is based on a raven. I'd say it's a raven or a crow. I would say raven. And I thought I couldn't love the first one more, and then the second one came along. So this is the first one. This was the fox. Mysterious Fox is what it's called. There we go. Absolutely fabulous. And this is the next one. Oh, it's a crow. Sorry guys. Mysterious Crow. So this is it. Oh my God, it's so good, isn't it? So, let's see. Yeah, Silver Sparkle Sock. Whereas this is called Bronze Sparkle Sock. This is Silver Sparkle Sock. Mysterious Crow. Superwash Merino, Nylon, Silver Stellina, Fingering, 400 meters, 100 gram skein is the main one. And then the mini one is Vincent's Highland Coup, which is actually the first time I've seen Vincent's Highland Coup in person. And I really like it. I really, really like it. It's a beautiful color. And I definitely want to make socks with them. I don't know if they're going to get done this year with the way kind of my knitting schedule is going. But then once I've got them together, wouldn't they be like an epic shawl? You know? They would be cool. I mean, like, it's such a great collection. But we'll see. But I'm absolutely obsessed. I can't wait for the final one. And I don't know if they're just going to be those skeins that I just like look at and I think they're beautiful and don't actually knit with. But we'll see. But yes, so this is dyed by Delz. This is their Mysterious Forest sock collection. And there's one more round of it, which I probably won't have it by the next episode, but the episode after I will. And yeah, I've really enjoyed them, and I just want to sit here and look at them. But I won't. I'm going to finish up. And that is all the yarn and knitting. I've got a huge mess in front of me. I haven't managed to set my knitting on fire, which is great. There is yeah, that's it, guys. I hope you've enjoyed. If you've any questions, please throw them down in the comments. Please tell me what you're working on right now. I will always want to know. It's crazy that, you know, I'm getting to know people now. Like, those of you that comment every episode, I'm like, oh, I remember you, I know you. You know, when you say, oh, I finished this and I've started that, it's like, it's great hearing about your projects, and I am like following along with what's going on with you. I will say it is super difficult to reply to everyone, but just know that I do read every single one. Replying to comments like could be a full-time job. So yeah, don't be discouraged from leaving them. I do read them. I do want to hear. I do try my best to chat and get in touch. But yeah, it's not always possible. But I do really, really appreciate the comments. I am looking forward to the new year. I have some ideas and some plans for the new year with this like great community that we're now building together. So please stay tuned for that. I'll probably only have 1 or 2 more episodes before the end of the year, and then I'm very excited to shoot a like everything I've knit in 2021 video in the new year. And then after that, I've got some like projects and ideas that I would love to share with you guys, which you'll hear about. Nothing major, just a lot of things that are like bubbling underneath in my brain, and it will be super fun. So I'm really excited for the new year. Please, I mean, it doesn't bother me if you like and subscribe, but like it is nice when you do, I guess, to help grow the community and share the love. It's, you know, I do this because I enjoy it, and I enjoy the love I get from this community, and this is the love that I want to give back and share what's going on with me. So that's why I do it. It's not for the fame. But yeah, if you do want to like and subscribe, please do. It helps, I guess. I mean, I don't know. And I will see you guys in 3 weeks for probably a lot of FOs and exciting new whips and Christmas fun times, festive holiday fun times. And it's also going to be my birthday really soon, so that's exciting. But yeah, I hope you're safe. I hope you're well. I hope you're healthy. Please be kind to yourselves. It's a tough time of year for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere. It's dark. It's so easy to not, you know, be happy and positive, but, you know, we only have so many Novembers and so many Decembers in our lifetime, so let's try and enjoy these dark wintry months, cozying up with our knitting as best we can. Sending you guys so much love. Have a great 3 weeks, and I'll see you next time. Bye!